Ms. Matthews' most important question was, how are we going to be calling people back to Barry Farm? And I think she's entitled to an answer.
The answer is, I thought I said it, and she did start speaking over me, but the answer is that we have our relocation and mobility team in the Office of Housing Choice Voucher Programs. It's an excellent team that is responsible for following up and meeting with every resident. They've stayed in touch with all of the residents who have been relocated, and will work with them on the relocation plans. You typically do not do that years out before the building is going to be ready, because that sets up false expectations. People can't plan 2 years ahead for moving. We can go into that process though as soon as we move forward, as we're able to close. But we do have a team who is responsible for doing that.
Perhaps the team could meet with the residents and tell them what their ideas are for how you decide.
Yes, ma'am.
The residents want to be involved.
Yes, ma'am. They do meet with them.
And that was another thing. We should be involved in this. And what you're saying, Ms. Donaldson, I don't know if y'all can hear me, but what you're saying is actually like a script to me at this point, because before, when I came to Berry Farms in 1999, I believe, it was already said that Berry Farms was going to be redeveloped, or someone was coming from Berry Farms. At that time, they always said it was the military. You know, you say 2 years prior, but this was done so many years prior for this to come to play. So I feel as though it shouldn't be like no 2 years. Y'all were planning for this way before time, and we should have that same due respect to get some kind of information, or at least be a part of what's going to happen in 2 years, opposed to you getting on the board or putting out some rules or regulations or the resolution of what's going to happen to us. We need to be a part of it, and that's where the problem is. And with all of this HUD and y'all and the rest of those that are, elected, at the end of the day, we are still human beings, and we deserve that right. And we deserve not to have lived in those conditions and to have to fight back to get to better conditions, and to have to wait for decisions and then still turn around and fight or go to court for them. It's just not fair. And you'll leave us out every time. And all my questions were not concerned, but I thank you, Chairperson, who responded. I really don't know your name right now. You're probably new to the board, not new to them, but new to me, because I've been outside of the rooms and I do most of my calls actually by phone. Not that I can't do Zoom, but I don't choose to do Zoom. So I appreciate you, and I don't know your name. If you can repeat it, you will, but I would like for Ms. Donalds to please proceed, or whoever her staff member are, for my two last questions, because I don't think that they were answered. And Aquarius, I appreciate you. You know I love you, my sister. Thank you.
Right. So the last two questions that you had was the process of when you want to return and the information that you need to be aware of. And what was your other question?
Just to be involved. I think we should be involved. They would tell us that, but that doesn't happen. I want y'all to know that the things do not happen that are being said. It's almost like speaking out the side of your neck. You say it, sound effect sounds good, but it actually doesn't happen in real time. It really doesn't. And also, it was the mold situation that I spoke of, and the report, not only given to presidents of, of the council or whatever. I feel as though, because a lot of people don't attend those meetings, that the residents should also have it because they're living in it.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. We're going to move forward.
I'm sorry, real quick. It's Ms. Bell. Just real quick. The lady, I just heard her say, the chair, the woman that's speaking, I can't think of her name. She's new. She took over Garrett. But did she just say that that's not possible to Paulette, that the residents just not have any involvement? Is that what I just heard her say?
No, you didn't hear that.
Say that.
No, she didn't say that. She said that they will be involved. Patricia said that they will be involved.
They have been involved. There are multiple meetings. There are newsletters that send periodic information. As soon as we start construction, we will begin the relocation process in earnest with the relocation team.
Preparation is always good. You say as soon as we start, like you could be prepping us ahead of time. You know,
Ms. Matthews, I'm gonna have to,
yeah.
Ms. Matthews, I apologize, but we've gone over the extended
Okay,
amount
we
of
can
time.
move on because I'm
But
all for the residents to talk as well. So I'll bring little pit stops back in to be answered of the questions that I'm asking, if need be.
And yet the bottom line doesn't change.
Excuse me, this is the court reporter. There's a lot of interference going on. I cannot hear board member Slover.
Thank you. Could you, if you're not speaking, could you please mute your line?
The point
Continue,
I'm trying to make
Commissioner
is that,
Slover.
the point I'm trying to make is that, as I say in all these deals, when you don't know in the beginning what you are contributing to the deal, you don't know if you've ended up in a good place. And so, yes, we want these units to be replaced. Of course we do. But we never contemplated putting this many subsidies into these projects. And we can't afford to do these every single time this way. We don't have the resources. We haven't used our land to our value. It hasn't reduced our commitment to the project. It's increased. So at the end of the day, my point is we're not benefiting from these things. We are not maximizing the value of our subsidies, of our land, and everything else.
Okay. Do you have another question that you want to raise? Because again, we differ on that. I want to see the residents in the property, in a new property, all those residents to come back. I'm not in the business of DCHA getting wealthy off the backs of the residents, and we're trying to improve their particular.
Okay. So
Yes.
if
you have a specific question,
I'm
before we
sorry.
move forward.
I'm sorry, but to suggest that we're going to get wealthy off of this is
Rural Housing
Just-
Authority.
the point I'm trying to
Rural
make.
Housing Authority
Is that
just
we
like
are
the
we need
Mr.
to get
Stover.
we need to get the most we can. We have very limited assets.
That's right.
We need to maximize every single one of those.
That's
Every
right.
dollar that you described as us getting wealthy is actually going to be plowed back in so we can improve the lives of our residents. Every dollar we leave on the table and every dollar we let go to somebody else takes away from our ability to perform those missions. That's the point I'm trying to get to. And so
That's right, Mr. Slaughter.
400 candidates that were from the wait list. Of those 400 in the past month, only 27 responded. 6 were deemed eligible, and as of last week, only 1 moved in. What we're doing to improve these numbers is we're starting to reach out to additional candidates. We have a series of plans tied to that to be able to reach out to all our waitlist tenants and be able to efficiently start moving them in now that we have more options available.
They were first supposed to go to people who are living in substandard conditions. Is that happening?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, just last week, we had 22 of those transfers. The 250 number that I gave you was supposed to be larger, but we started to move some tenants over to these renovated units so that we could start moving them to a better condition unit.
How many of them are moved in?
Well, like I said, last week there was a group of 22. That's the only thing that I have at the moment. I can tell you everything that's been transferred. All the transfers. I don't have the exact number with me. Maybe
I mean, they've been transferred on paper. Have they been transferred in life? Are they living in the new units?
Ma'am, I was informed that as of last week, 22, yes, have been transferred.
Any other questions, Commissioner Hoffman?
We were supposed to be getting reports on this regularly. Will you start reporting to us monthly how many apartments have been remade and who's moved into them, whether from the wait list or from the very badly unhealthy, unsafe units they're now living in?
Ma'am, I have the information. I can provide it to you. The thing is,
A regular date each month when we'll be providing that information when you finalize the dashboard. So will we be able to send them information at the end of April, probably like if we say by the 10th of the following month, and then we can have the current month. We get through the end of the month, we reconcile the data, and then send it by the 10th of the month, the following month. Is that?
And what is the sequence of selection? How do you decide whether it's somebody who's living in squalid conditions, or somebody from the wait list, or somebody who's been waiting for an accommodation unit? There are all kinds of people who are waiting for
Yep.
these units. How do you decide the sequence?
Okay, so part of the reason why we're moving ahead faster to have more units online is to have options. Not everyone likes the options that they have, so as we expand the options, we're having more people decide that they want to move in. That is all of them are working. We're all working in parallel, even fixing and trying to consolidate all our efforts to transfer tenants around and maintaining a centralized wait list and transfer list. So they're all being taken into account based on different hierarchies of importance, from security to units that have been deemed that we need to redo and have them provide the tenants the option to move.
What is the sequence? What is the order?
Well, the order, I would have to get back to you on that, unless, Nona, you have the order with you in front of you.
Thank you. Commissioner Falchecchio.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Council.
Yes.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Bessie Reader.
Yes.
Thank you. You have 9 yes. The resolution 2212 is approved.
Wow, I think that's the
Thank you,
first time
Commissioner.
in a year that we all agreed on one resolution. All right. Good
All
job.
right, we
Thank
gotta
you.
get busy.
Yes, yes.
you.
You guys have a lot of work to do. Let's move on
Yes.
to resolution 2213.
Okay. Ms. Bonds,
Yes, Resolution 2213 is to authorize the execution of contracts for mold testing and remediation services. Any questions or comments from commissioners on this resolution?
Go ahead, Commissioner Hoffman, if you want to go first.
Yeah, my question is, can we get on the public record, that we will provide copies of the reports on the conditions in the apartments to the resident council presidents, and B, that we will provide them to the resident in that unit?
yes, I will commit to doing both, providing copies of any lead assessment reports in congregate to the resident council presidents, and certainly to the individuals in the unit.
And I would say to all the condition reports that are being developed through your unit by unit review.
Yes.
Thank you.
Unless somebody else, I can go. I'm gonna ask the same question from before, which is, we've had this type of work going on for quite some time. Who's been doing that work to date, or any of these contractors, those contractors? Why do we need this contract now?
Kimberly,
Again, those contracts have expired.
When did they expire?
The mold contracts expired in 2020, the end of 2020.
So we've been operating for 2 years under significant mold problem without any contracts?
No, the umbrella contracts, as I said, expired in 2021. They have, on an individual basis, case by case basis, awarded work for individual units as necessary.
So the next question would be, why did it take so long to bring this? I mean, it seems like a very critical piece of work we need to have access to. Wouldn't that significantly slow things down to have to do things on a case by case basis like that? It would just seem that something got dropped here.
Good question. I do not know the answer to that. Kimberly or Lori, do you know the answer, or is that on the program side?
It's on the program side.
I think at the time, Lori Bonds, General Counsel, I think at the time, not only were the delay with regard to the program side, but also because of COVID. And we're reducing the number of staff as well as contractors that could be able to enter the unit, unless there were situations that were, again, dire and required, again, us to have the testing and the remediation services, which, as Kimberly said, then the operations were contacting the contractors on a case-by-case basis, as opposed to having a plan as they are now to go into several units at one time.
So is this a specialty service or just a general service that a lot of contractors provide?
No, these are specialty services. They have to be on a list that the district approves to have testing, knowledge and expertise, and separate contractors that can do remediation.
Because I see that 2 of the 4 awardees were also awarded contracts under the previous resolution.
That's
So they have the specific expertise to do this?
That's correct. So you have 2 of the awardees that have the certification for remediation. One of the awardees has the certification for assessment, and then one of the awardees has both the assessment and remediation certification.
No, I was just referring to the fact that 2 of them were on the previous resolution for general services. So where do you guys find, how do you solicit for these vendors? Because I always wonder that myself. I've asked these questions a lot. Just where do we put out? We put ads out. We go to various places because I always want to make sure we're casting a wide enough net.
So the solicitations are published in the standard media that are listed in the resolution. In addition to that, we are posting the solicitations to the DCHA website, which in fact gets sent to all of the registered bidders. We send the solicitation directly to DHCD to distribute to the CBE and Section 3 businesses, and we send it as well to directly to the number of companies that are identified by the program office.
Okay, so could you guys update these resolutions because you list the current newspaper as one of the places where you put these advertisements? They've been out of business since May of 2019.
I'll have to check the list and verify. I know that we do have a standard list that we send the solicitations to, but I will definitely go through and double check to make sure that that is not, a typo and that the correct medias are listed within the resolution.
Yeah, because it says DCH advertised in these various periodicals, one of which doesn't exist.
And Commissioner Slover, you're referencing the memo, not the resolution, correct? Because that's not in the resolution.
I'm referencing the memo, and yeah, I'm trying to make sure that we're actually advertising somewhere.
Noted.
Yes, we are. And again,